Hi, I'm Mia. Sony's upgraded their popular PXW-X320 camcorder and brought it up to speed with the cameras in the XDCAM line. I'm going to show you around the PXW-X320 and give you the rundown on the new PMW-PZ1 4K memory player. The X320 is an over-the-shoulder ENG-style camera that weighs just 7.5 pounds. It can capture 1080p at 30 frames per second in the XAVC Intra format at 100 megabits per second for high-end applications. And if you're working in long-format broadcast, the MPEG-2 at 10-bit 422 color is a really good choice. So Sony's opened up some of their upper-level recording formats and bit rates to this HD camera that previously were not included. You'll capture clean, beautiful footage with fine details and great color, all with a camera ergonomically designed to let you roam around your environment. There are two S/S card slots. The X320 takes S/S Pro Plus, S/S Pro, and S/S 1 cards. Sony kept the 3.5-inch Exmor CMOS sensors on the new X320, but promised improved low-light performance and higher signal-to-noise ratio. This camera has a 3-dimensional noise reducer that detects noise up to 60 decibels. That definitely sets it apart from others in the market at this price point. There's also a flash band reducer built in, so if you work in close proximity with still photographers, you won't get that banding over several frames from the flash. The X320 is targeted at mid-level production houses and news gatherers, and it's the first camera in Sony's line with the ability to mitigate flash banding. You can choose from two video formats, XAVC and MPEG-2 long GOP. Both are offered at a variety of codecs and bit rates that range from 25 megabits per second up to 112 megabits per second. You choose what's best for you depending on the application of the video. It captures both progressive and interlaced video. The highest frame rate for progressive capture is 30 frames per second. If you want to shoot at 60 frames per second, you'll need to switch down to 1080i. There's also an option for quick and slow motion frame rate function. The PXW-X320 has an industry standard half-inch bayonet lens mount, and the camera comes with a 16x Fuji non-optical zoom lens. On the lens is a hand grip with an auto manual iris switch. And if you like to work in manual but have the option for a quick auto iris, there's an auto push button. So you can see where the camera thinks it should be, and then you can tweak manually from there. The hand grip also has a power zoom rocker, and if you flip it upside down, you'll see the switch that enables the servo zoom, so you can zoom in and out with just the touch of a finger. Plus, you can use this little RET button to immediately review the last few seconds of the clip you've just shot in your viewfinder. It's just to double check to make sure what you want is there without going into your playback and thumbnails. Also, this button serves as a shot marker while you're recording. Those will give an editor indicators of where they should look for the best video. 3 ND filters are built in, and you can flip through them with this little wheel just above the lens. The first one is clear, then there's a quarter, 1/16, and 1/64 ND. Now the viewfinder on this camera is really quite nice. It's a 3.5-inch screen with a resolution of 960 by 540, so everything looks really sharp, and when you're out of focus, you know it. Peaking helps too, but even without it, this screen makes getting critical focus easy. You can also flip up the eyepiece to view just the LCD when the camera's on a tripod. This camera body also supports wireless file transfer and streaming with a few optional devices. You'll start with the CBK-WA101, which can transfer high-resolution or proxy files over a wireless signal. If you're working within wireless range or using an optional 4G LTE USB modem, you can then send directly to Sony's network receiver, the PWS-100RX1. This combination of devices has what Sony calls QoS, or quality of service technology, meant to ensure that you don't drop to black, get signal breakup, or see the video freeze during transmission. It basically works like a live truck, streaming video and audio wirelessly back to the receiver at a fraction of the cost. Now let's talk about the ports you'll find on this camera. There are 2 S/S card slots, and that's the only media this camera takes. An S/S adapter will allow you to use Sony's XQD cards and SD cards as well. Along the back and outside of the camera, you'll find a number of ports and connections. There's one BNC connection, which is generally used for live feeds, 2 HDSDI outputs, and 1 HDMI port. You'll also find Genlock and timecode in and out ports. You'll also find an iLink port on the back, along with 2 3-pin XLR inputs for channel 1 and channel 2 audio, plus a 5-pin XLR audio output. There's a DC power in, so you could set up the camera to run on a constant power source as opposed to the battery. There are 2 USB ports built into the top handle and a wireless remote control port that will allow you to control this camera remotely. Let's move into the menu system for a moment. This XDCAM offers a pretty wide variety of gamma curves. You'll find 6 standard ones in the menu, along with 4 hyper gamma, which are identical to those on the high-end Cine Alta camcorders. Another thing I'd like to point out is that this is a pretty robust menu system, and Sony's made it customizable, which is a nice little user interface feature. You can basically bookmark places in the menu that you know you'll be visiting often, so you can find them easier. Another nice UI feature is selectable peaking. When you're working in a mobile environment like news camera operators are, they're constantly adjusting their focus. So just having focus peaking is essential because you pretty much have it on all the time to double check yourself. And being able to choose the color and the peaking intensity is sweet. If you wanted to immediately play back the footage you shot with the X320, either for a client or to copy to a hard drive, then Sony's new PMW-PZ1 media player could be your next purchase. What makes this deck special is its ability to work efficiently with robust resolutions and codecs. It can playback, transfer, or copy HD, Ultra HD, and true 4K video up to a frame rate of 60 frames per second. Now that's important because it expands the life use of this device. There are only a few select cameras out there that can shoot 4K at 60 frames per second, so having a player that's already capable of handling that will continue to be valuable as you expand your 4K workflow. Frame rates of 24 frames per second and 30 frames per second are also supported. This is a VTR style deck, and it has an HDMI 2.0 support, so you can play out 4K to an HDMI monitor or digital signage devices for viewing. It also has 4 3G SDI interfaces capable of Ultra HD or 4K output up to 60 frames per second as well. Right now, the player works with Sony's XAVC and MPEG-2 formats using an MXF wrapper in the 420 and 422 color space. A firmware update is expected to include Sony's more consumer-friendly XAVCS formats, also using an MXF wrapper. You'll find those on their mirrorless 4K camera line like the A7R II and the A7S II. The PZ1 has a slot on the front for an S/S Pro memory card, and with the proper S/S adapter, you could playback, transfer, or copy from XQD and SD cards. But one of the most useful features on this machine is that it doesn't just take cards. Playback, transfer, and copy can all be done with a hard drive via the USB 3.0 port as well. If you have a finished package on a drive, you can play it out to a monitor or an encoder for the web through the PZ1 as well. Or maybe you just shot a ton of 4K footage, really big files, and you need to back them up. Just transfer it to a hard drive through the deck. When you turn it on, it sounds like a small aircraft taking off for the first 30 seconds while it boots up. There's a 3.5-inch high-quality color LCD monitor so you can see the footage you're working with, and the controls are similar to VTR decks. It has a large menu system to manipulate the MPEG-2, 420, 422, or XAVC Intra and long codecs. So it's perfect to pair with a camera like the X320 because it's capable of handling large data files. If you have any more questions about this camera or media player, check out the link to the overview and specs in the description below. Thanks for watching.
Whether you're a hobbyist or a professional, B&H has the answers to your questions. Experience a world of technology at our New York City Superstore. Connect with us online or give us a call. Our staff of experts is happy to help.